Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's post-match press conference. We have U.S. Under-23 men's national team head coach Jason Price. Jason, would you like to give an opening comment on the match?
Sure. Obviously we're devastated, absolutely devastated in the locker room. The guys are like it's tragedy. I think we all wanted this so badly for so many different reasons. And I think could be that sometimes when you want it too bad, you put yourself in a position where you can't perform to the level needed. And at the end of the day, I just don't think we had enough. Yeah.
Thank you, Jason. We'll now start with questions. And we'll go first to Stephen Goff from the Washington Post. Stephen, go ahead.
Hi, Jason. It's been a few cycles now that the U.S. has struggled qualifying for the Olympics. Is there something deeper here that's going on, or what? Can you put your finger on it?
I think there's a lot of considerations, Stephen. First and foremost, just the time of the year that the qualification is in. I think it puts an American team in a difficult place because of the fact that we are just now entering preseason. I felt like last year the timing of it was a little bit better because the MLS season had already played, 3 or 4 matches. So I think that's difficult. The only solution I would say there is that, if you can get the European players that are in mid-season, then perhaps you're in better shape. But we all know the difficulties of that as well. So I mean, those are the couple of things that jump out to me that they just make it a difficult prospect. Not to say that we weren't good enough to get it done, because I do believe we had enough quality in our team. We had enough ability in our team. We had enough fight and commitment, but just at the end of it tonight, I just didn't think it was quite enough.
Thank you, Stephen. Next up, we'll take Sam Stechko from The Athletic. Sam, go ahead.
Sorry, this is actually Paul Tenorio. I jumped on Sam's link, which is why I'm on there. But Jason, when you look at the performance today and maybe even over the entire tournament, where do you think things fell short? And I guess on the attacking end, what do you think kind of kept things from connecting in the last couple games? Thank you.
Yeah, Paul, it's a good question. I think, again, it just comes down to general sharpness of players. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a game where we've had players miscontrol the ball so much, balls rolling under people's feet, passing out of bounds. These are things that are just really, you kind of scratch your head and you're thinking, what's going on here? But, I also have been around the game enough in our country at a pro level to tell you this is what you see in preseasons. And at the beginning of MLS seasons, it's typical. So, and then, on the quality in the final third, I felt like we got there enough times. We're just lacking, for me, mostly the last pass, but then we even got into areas where we should finish and we don't. So it goes back to, again, from my point of view, the commitment level was there. The guys ran hard and fought and tried to get themselves in the right spots. It's just when we really needed the quality, when we really needed difference makers, I don't think it was there tonight.
Thank you, Paul. Next up, we'll take Michele Giannone from Univision. Michele, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Thank you, Chris. You just touched on this a little bit. Obviously, you guys had the quality. Do you think it was just a matter of too much pressure on the guys' nerves that especially what happened? You just touched, but just the mental side.
Yeah, no, I think, whatever it was, whether it's just the fact that we all had so much pent up angst at wanting it so badly that we couldn't quite relax in the moments that we needed to. I mean, I felt like there was so much time and space in the ball, and we had guys just absolutely rushing every decision. It's just a little strange. And, these things happen in the game. These are young players that need to continue to push forward and continue to improve, and the more experiences that they have in pressure situations. And I think they learn to cope with them and perform better through those. But for this afternoon, again, I don't fault the effort at all. I just don't think the quality was quite there.
Thank you, Michele. Next up, we'll take Jeff Carlisle from ESPN. Jeff, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Jason. I'm curious as to your thoughts about the first half, because it did seem like you guys struggled on the attacking end, and that happened in particular. Whereas in the latter half, you had you applied all the pressure. I mean, what did you think specifically about the first half?
I think the first half looked a lot like the Dominican Republic first half. We have players that aren't moving. We have people on the ball that aren't committing defenders to make decisions, to open up spaces. We have guys that look like they just don't really want the ball. And so, again, it just kind of goes back to mostly mentality for me. That's my opinion right now. And I could have it wrong, but, I think at the end of the day, it just wasn't quite there from a confidence point of view.
Thanks, Jeff. Next up, we'll take Ron Blum from the Associated Press. Ron, go ahead.
Hi, Jason. Looking at this group and looking at the previous groups, are their careers set back in the national team hurt by the failure to reach the Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, I in so much as not so much as just this, you'd say this one game or this tournament,
He mute the mic.
Chance with the national team. I think what you're alluding to, and I think is absolutely correct, is we lose an opportunity to play in an international tournament with more pressure, where these players have to be in these environments and continue to improve with that pressure. So I think if that's what you're asking, yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Last few questions here. Next up, we'll take Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Jonathan, go ahead.
Thank you. Jason, you mentioned, bits and pieces of things lacking qualitatively with this squad. You've alluded to it a couple of times now in your remarks. And I wonder if you have any regrets about decisions that you've made along the way here, whether they be roster chosen or lineups or what.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm already. This is who I am as a person. I will look first and foremost at myself and think back about the decisions that were made, about the roster, about the form of the players that were coming in, the players that weren't here, of course. Absolutely. Anybody that knows anything about me knows that I point the finger at myself absolutely first. Having said that, it's a collective effort. It wasn't just me making those decisions, but I'm more than willing and able to take the brunt of the blame. No problem.
We'll now take our final question from Ryan Tolnick of Goal.com. Ryan, go ahead.
Hey, Jason, obviously you've talked a lot here about, what happened today and what's happened through this tournament. But at the end of the day, you have, 20 young men in that locker room right now with bright futures ahead of them and everything like that. What do you kind of say to those guys to pick them up? Obviously, I'm sure just like yourself, they're all crushed, but they have other games to play. How do you kind of pick them up?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I've already said it right before I came in here. I made a point to go in there right away. Because ultimately it's my very strong feeling that there are extremely good players with extremely high potential in that room that are young players, and they need to continue to develop, continue to learn, continue to move forward. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of life that you lose more than you win. And it's always going to be about who gets up and moves forward the quickest. And again, and again, and again. Because these disappointments happen in your life over and over and over again, and you have no choice but to move forward. And I hope that these players do that.